Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnson. There was a big trade last night in the NFL between two AFC teams. The Cleveland Browns made their second trade of the week, sending cornerback Greg Newsome and a 2026 sixth-round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars for cornerback Tyson Campbell and a 2026 seventh-round pick. Also, Adam Schefter reports that Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson and Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray both did not practice for the second day in a row, which has their status for Week 6 in doubt. In Vols news, cornerback Jermod McCoy was officially ruled out for the Arkansas game, while defensive lineman David Hobbs is returning for the first time this season, per the Vols injury report. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. 615-737-1045. You want to get in on the conversation. We'll be joined by Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered, joining us in studio at 1:20 p.m. to go around the SEC with him. And I figured we could, because we've been pretty Titans heavy, obviously a victory and all that kind of stuff, a lot of themes to come out of that game. Figure we could spend some time talking about Vandy, Alabama today and how that game went down, what that game really says and stuff like that. Because, listen, Diego Pavia, 2 red zone turnovers by him. They put the ball in his hands a lot against an Alabama defense that's very susceptible to the run. It was an odd choice, but you had Johnny Manziel and comedian Theo Vaughn down on the sidelines talking to Diego Pavia in between drives and plays and all this kind of crazy stuff. And Alabama, they did the complete opposite in the red zone. They converted all 4 Vitch trips into red zone points. So, it was really close for a while. I mean, I did exactly what I said I would do. If at halftime they were within to 10 points, I was going to put money on Vanderbilt money line. And they were tied 14-14.
Yeah.
So I went and put money on Vanderbilt's money line.
I forgot she said that.
And listen, I guess the jinx worked because I didn't win any money and Alabama won. And they kind of sent at the end of the game, kind of put a little FU touchdown to capitalize on that to Vanderbilt for last year's game.
Is that what happened, Rob?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. A little exclamation point by Alabama for last year's loss to Vanderbilt.
Oh, you think it's more about that than Diego's mouth?
It could be both. A little bit of both. I mean, maybe Diego's mouth kept it a little fresher on their minds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would completely agree there. It was just Vandy, man. They gave them everything they could handle. The turnovers in the red zone, mostly by Diego.
Right.
I think interception and a fumble in the red zone.
Yep.
Those were the turning points. And he did have the ball in his hand a lot, but they trust him. And, I thought he was trying a little too hard to impress and win it on his own instead of just kind of just playing the game. And sometimes that happens to elite players, especially who do a lot of talking and back it up typically. That's that little edge you don't want to give the other team in a game. Now, you could talk smack after the game or during the game, but at some point, the bullseye's on you, and it's going to come back to you. And then how you answer the questions of, him making mistakes and everything. I don't think it'll affect him. I think he's kind of a loosey-goosey, what I have to lose type guy. But at the same time, he made some critical mistakes and it cost him a game. It may cost him probably playoff consideration, considering, however they go the rest of this season.
Right.
You could look back at this game and go, we would have got that one, or, made it even a closer game, because theoretically just to score, look, when you talking about the last touchdown, that was definitely, they wanted to make the score look like it was not a close contest. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 35 pass attempts for Diego Pavia versus 19 carries for the entire Vanderbilt offense. And
Vanderbilt ran the ball well. They should have just kept giving the ball to the running back. I mean, those dudes was.
I mean, this is not
well schemed by their coaching staff. By the way,
well, we'll talk about Alabama versus Missouri coming up. But if I'm an Alabama fan, I'm not looking at this game thinking, oh, we solved a lot of stuff, especially on the run defense, because you got Ahmad Hardy coming up, and boy, like if Missouri doesn't just give him the ball 40 times, I'd be very surprised, because this Alabama run defense is very susceptible to the run, and the fact that 19, okay, so remember 19 carries, 12 of those belong to Diego Pavia, so basically he had the ball outside of sacks 47 times in his hands. 12 carries. The next highest running back to have carries was 4.
Yeah.
That's not a winning formula. And that one was very odd.
I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't know. Yeah. Yeah, you got to get some balance in there. I get it, your best player versus a really good team, but that's it, especially the way the running backs are running and how they were creating holes there with the offensive line. Man, I would have thought it would be more balanced.
Yeah.
I think they're probably working on it, but at the same time in the game, coaches aren't looking. They're looking for, the plays that can win. And some of those, he could keep it or give it to the running back. So I just wonder how much, that played into his head, and I can do it.
Yeah.
And I can make this happen.
Yeah, it's to me, it's like, okay, so you had 4 carries for Cedric Alexander. One of those carries out of the 4 went for 65 yards and a touchdown. Now, obviously, that's going to make that 76 look a little worse. So you're talking about 3 for 11 yards, right? Mm-hmm. That's still not enough to want to abandon the run game, especially in a close game. Yeah. And listen, I get that Diego Pavia probably a couple of RPOs, he kept it himself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I understand that. But you got to start manufacturing some run plays and take some pressure off Diego Pavia. I know that he loves pressure, and he's not a guy to really necessarily crumble under pressure, but he is a guy that can make mistakes. And at that time, I'm looking at it, and I was just so surprised that they weren't running it more. And that was really the path to victory for this team. Jim freaking Nance in the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live says Vandy didn't run the ball, and the offensive coordinator had Diego do too much. Yeah. And Bama has a quarterback now. He just needs time to develop. And listen, I'm not going to take anything away from Ty Simpson. He's looked very good this year since the Florida State game. And even then, the Florida State game up and down, but it wasn't really the reason they lost.
Considering how the team played, I thought he played okay. He wasn't the reason why they lost in my mind.
Right. He still had an early interception in this game. And you do wonder, listen, no offense to Vanderbilt fans and the players on that team, but they haven't really, outside of Georgia, and Georgia may not be the Georgia of the old, haven't really played a top-tier defense yet. And they may not really see one at any point. I mean, I don't think Missouri's defense is that great comparatively, so I'm having a hard time still buying into this Alabama team. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the lack of run defense that's making me not buy into it, if it's the up-and-down roller coaster of maybe their emotions, second-half meltdowns. But I have to say that Ty Simpson has played beyond what I really thought he was going to play. And he is definitely a reason why you could win and rarely the reason why you could lose. And that's all you can really ask for in a college quarterback sometimes.
Yeah. I think I bought into more to Ty Simpson than you did, just as much as I bought into Arch Manning and you didn't. So, so we're
1-1.
I thought he was good. Going to be a really good player. It's hard to be patient now. The patience in sports, especially SEC, Big Ten, and even the NFL, is just you want instant success and see players do well, and they need to go through their lumps first a little bit.
And props to him for sticking around Alabama's roster as long as he did
and waited his turn. And so obviously he thought he had a great shot of starting. That was a signal to me that, okay, he believes that the new coaching staff believes in him and that he's going to be the dude. And he's gone out there and actually, when they played bad, I just felt like against Florida State that he wasn't the reason why they lost. And I still thought he played okay in that game. I know everybody looked at the result.
He played good enough for them to win, to have a shot to win.
Yeah, he was solid. So from that point on, as bad as they played there, that's when you say, oh, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Because of he didn't fold. Now, did they look like how they wanted? No. But so that's when you know you grow from those situations, and you could tell by I'm real good at reading body language. There was never a time that he felt like he wasn't in control of that game, like as far as what he could do.
Yeah,
he never looked flustered, frustrated. Down and out. His body language kept on saying, "Yep, we're gonna pave a way. Y'all just keep blocking. We're gonna have a shot." So that has led them actually to where they are now, and I think they're. Got a great shot of, making the playoffs for sure. I know a lot of people, don't, even you being a Bama fan, but I think they have it. But this game against Mizzou is one to watch of upset alert. I'd love to hear what Mr. Phillips has to say about that because they're in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really good defense, and they run the ball, and the weakness of Alabama's team is actually defending the run.
They have the best running back in the country the last few years, to be honest with you.
And so this one, and then is it an early kickoff? I think like 11.
2:30. I think it's 2:30.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just playing, I don't know. I'm really nervous that this could be Missouri.
No, it is 11 a.m.
11 a.m. So that's, that all plays. It's just weird about it in Columbia. And they got a really good team, too, by the way. They have a really
good offense. They can go point with Alabama.
Yes, I'm going to tune into that one and watch it early.
Yeah.
I think it'd be probably one of the best. Matter of fact,
it's a really good slate of SEC games.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Do you think this is the best weekend in the SEC as far as just games, the schedule, based off how everything has kind of parlayed so early in the season?
So far, I would say
this is the best weekend.
Oklahoma at Texas. You have Georgia going down to Auburn, which is technically a rivalry game. You have this Alabama-Missouri game. Tennessee,
Georgia,
Arkansas coming into Texas or Tennessee, and that could be a
Florida
very unique game.
And A&M, right?
Florida and A&M, because you saw Mississippi State keep it close with A&M for the longest time, and Florida, just got a big win over Texas. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Steve in Gallatin. Steve, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, I enjoy the show, but I got a different take on the last score.
Okay.
I want you to just think about this.
Mm-hmm.
The spread was 10 to 12.5 at different times. Alabama doesn't score. All the Vanderbilt people win. Alabama scores again late, and yes, I agree, probably punched it down our throat just to say they could. But with that score, everybody bet on Alabama wins. And if you don't think the coach knows that, and guess who pays him? All the Alabama people. So I'm telling you that whether you want to realize it or not, I think sports betting, has played an outcome into some of the scores in these games.
Who do you think called down to the coach and said, keep driving along because we got to make sure we cover the spread? Who do you think called down there? Told him that.
I think he knew it before he went out there.
And it played on his decisions?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
There you go. We appreciate it, Steve. Hey, I've heard a couple of people say that. At least I've heard a couple of people say.
It's hard to believe, but it always works out, man. Like, ooh, did somebody know something that we didn't know?
Yeah. A little bit of sigh of relief for the betting community when something like that happens.
And I never really paid that much attention to it when I was a player, but as soon as I finished, oh man, it's just like, whoa, I don't know. So when people start saying that, the gambling odds and everything else, something else is going on is scripted or something, I'm like, maybe. But man, Vegas they're at least at 80% all the time, mostly right. 90, probably even more. You are better, you're gambling more than me, so I don't know. But man, I wouldn't be surprised. But I sure don't want to believe in stuff like that. I really don't.
You just never know. You never know what's going on out there.
So you believe that it is?
I'm just saying. Stuff seems very just coincidental, I guess you could say.
I would agree with you on that. And it happens so often.
It does. It happens a lot.
People start saying that like games are scripted out. Like, it's hard to script out sports. But.
I was going to say, there's plenty of bad beats every weekend, like stuff that happens late like that in college football. So I have a hard time believing it's intentional, I guess.
Right.
For that reason.
Jason Fitz was on Buck's show recently, and he was talking about, this is kind of a different conversation, but just real quick, that he was talking about the game flow and how the NCAA playoff selection committee looks at game flow. So, like a late touchdown by Alabama, they're not really weighing that as heavy as they are. Well, Vanderbilt kept it pretty close throughout the whole game.
Right, okay.
And maybe they struggled a little bit. That's a different conversation,
Yeah.
but it's just something that popped in my head that I remember hearing earlier this
Oh,
week.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a good thing on their part. I just want to make sure everybody's watching all the
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, that's for
They're
sure.
making their decision on the
Yeah.
on the polls there. But, yeah, man, it's really interesting now that they are actually really, the NCAA now is opening the door just like the NFL did to all this gambling stuff. So it's going to be really interesting here in another 5 years just to see where we're at. I think by then we'll also be a big time gambler and big pockets and.
Only if he listens to the Lions Den bets. All right.
That's only 50-50.
Hey, it's a little over 50%. All right. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Want to know about a place where European auto repair doesn't feel like European auto repair? Hey, it's Blaine Bishop. Tell you about the moment you walk into Eurofix, you notice Eurofix is not your typical greasy garage. Waiting rooms are super clean, comfortable, and inviting. Service areas are spotless. Why? Because Eurofix cares about everything from how you are treated to how your vehicle is actually treated. Every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs, and Eurofix performs ultimately great service and at below dealer pricing. And you don't have to put up with the dealer pricing of not knowing where the price came from or get ghosted when you give them a call while you're waiting for your vehicle. And Eurofix fixes everything European, plus a rental car available with every appointment. Located all over the state of Tennessee, Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet. All you have to do to set up a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're joined in studio by Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Okay, what is the SEC Unfiltered tailgate record right now? Because for the home teams that you visit, because Florida won, and you were down there.
Yeah.
They beat LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sorry, Texas. So what's y'all's record right now?
Well, the home team unfortunately won week 1 because I went to Columbus, right, with Texas, Ohio State. So I wasn't happy to see the home team win, but they did win. Bama won in Athens. That's the one that I believe the home team did not win.
That's
also
true.
Tennessee, Georgia. Excuse me.
Okay,
so
there you go.
So we're week 7. So we're 4-2 for the home teams.
Gotcha.
So which it's
That's
people
pretty
ask
good.
me all the time, who am I pulling for when I go to these games? And obviously, if it's an SEC non-conference, like we went to Oklahoma, Michigan, Texas, Ohio State, the answer is very obvious. But I'm really I'm hoping for a thriller. That's all I'm really pulling for. But I will admit it does help the content from the vlog perspective when the home team wins. Because, for example, the Tennessee, Georgia vlog in Knoxville, it got a pretty good reception. But had Tennessee won, the views probably would have been 5 or 6x. Because nobody wants to go back and relive a heartbreaking loss. Everybody wants to relive a dramatic win. So
you're cheering for support there to the SEC Unfiltered.
Yeah, I mean, but see, that's the good news about this weekend. Obviously, we're going to Dallas for the Red River Shootout. And that one, neutral site. It's going to be a great weekend either way. I'm truly just pulling for a thriller. I'm glad I didn't go last year for my first experience. A lot of people were trying to get me to go, twist my arm. That game was like 34-3. So I don't think we're going to have that in store again. I think we're going to get a good game.
Wherever you're set up, I think Zach's going to, drop right there with his private helicopter.
Yeah.
I wish. I haven't won that much on the Lions and best bets yet to go afford a helicopter. Okay, Florida. You were all over saying that Florida and Texas, you were feeling good about Florida. What were the vibes like throughout that entire game? Because Florida jumps out to a lead. Texas is really struggling. I mean, what was the vibes like down in Gainesville for a game like that where maybe fans didn't think they really had a shot?
Yeah, going into the weekend, because we got there on Thursday and then obviously all throughout the day Friday, there was an energy of worry and concern, and I think more so focused on the future of Gators football when it comes to Billy Napier. They're all ready to move off of him. That basically the entire fan base. You've got still your diehards who are going to always support no matter what. But for the most part, everybody I talked to, and they agreed even after the game, but going into it, win or lose, Billy needs to go. There's nothing he can do really to win back the fan base. Win or lose against Texas, he needs to go. And that was the sentiment after they won. But the energy Saturday, I mean, I thought the tailgate was great. Gator fans, Gator Nation showed up. I finally got to see the Swamp at its peak, or as close to its peak as possible. I was told it gets rowdier for sure. Wasn't a night game. Wasn't all the way packed, probably about 95%. But yeah, it was raucous. It was rowdy. We had a really good time. And again, Gator fans were happy, but there's still that cloud hanging over that, hey, great win. It feels more like a highlight in the midst of what will probably be a 6-6 or 7-5 season that sees Billy get canned. And I think that's what they want. Yeah. They want him gone.
So what happens if he beats Texas A&M this weekend?
Exactly.
I mean, it helps. I'm of the belief too. I think Billy needs to go. Outside of them winning out, which at that point you have to have a really difficult conversation. There's nothing they could do the rest of the way out that is going to erase that loss to South Florida.
Even if they take out Texas and A&M.
But see, here's the problem, though. You beat Texas, great win. They immediately drop all the way out of the top 25. So even their own fans are saying, well, it wasn't really a top 10 win. It was a scuffling Texas team.
Well, they can say they beat them and took them out of the top 25.
Yeah, I mean, you're not totally wrong. But again, this isn't just like a few game sample size. This is the entire Billy Napier era. It's culminated in this. I don't disagree with Gator fans. I think you've seen enough from Billy Napier, and that's one of those places like Texas, like Oklahoma, like LSU, like Bama, like Georgia, where it's like, ask yourself the question, do you believe the guy in charge is the guy to get you to at least an SEC championship, if not a national title? And the moment that answer becomes no, he ain't the guy, and if you waste time moving on, you're just delaying the the inevitable. So I think that's where they are with Florida. There's no belief.
Let's go through each coach of the SEC.
Probably coaches
Josh Heupel. You think he can win your national title?
I think he could do it. Yeah.
Get to the playoffs.
He's gotten close from the standpoint. He made the playoff. He's made the playoff. Too early to tell. I think Josh can do it. I think Josh can do it. I was disheartened by the Georgia game and the conservative play calling and some of the things that happened, but I think he could do it. Yeah, I think Heupel could do it. Well, here's Lane Kiffin, yes, can win a national championship, but each of these places are not the same. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss is not Florida, which is why we have this debate of would Lane take the Florida job, because I think he could do things at Florida that I don't know he can do at Ole Miss, although maybe this is the year for the Rebels.
How much are the groomers playing into this? Like, if they didn't think that because John Gruden heavily linked to taking this Florida job if it becomes available.
He said he
how much is the grass maybe greener on the other side? Because couldn't you kind of say that maybe DJ Lagway's decision making is the reason that they're kind of in this mess? Because he wasn't very good to begin with in this season.
Well, it's up to Billy Napier to get that out of him.
That's
right?
true.
I mean,
that's true.
I want the board of directors. I want them to go watch all these videos of Gruden and see how he chastised the quarterback in the NFL, because they couldn't, Sims, by the way, couldn't call the play. So if he can't do it, how many college players, quarterbacks, you think can rattle off his play calling of John Gruden? See, and that's where they don't think about stuff like that. Man, that was a paragraph. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even remember, and he did it 3 times.
Spider Y2 banana.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah, that's where it started. It was like a whole other paragraph after. I think if you're Florida, hiring John Gruden would be crazy. I really do. You need more of a sure thing than that. I think Gruden would be a great hire for an Arkansas or, maybe even an Auburn, but at Florida, you need more of a sure thing. And then John Gruden, great NFL coach, but hey, there's another great NFL coach. It's struggling right now, named Bill Belichick. There's some other things obviously going on, but I think you need a little bit more of a guarantee, and I don't think they want to go the G5 route. I mean, Kiffin's the guy they want, right? That's the guy right now that they could go 9 and they could win out, but if they knew they could get Kiffin, they'd fire Billy Napier immediately. And I mean, again, man, I don't blame him. Billy's not the guy. How
much is that if that did happen? Let's say your scenario happened. Buyout of Napier, let alone.
I think right now it's still at $20 million, I believe. I think the buyout's still at $20 million. I don't know if it goes down towards end of season. I mean, that's all in the contract, obviously, but I believe the latest we got was $20 million for Napier, and then for Kiffin, you'd have to buy him out as his Ole Miss contract.
It would be at the end of the season, $19.38 million according to Sports Illustrated.
So you're going to have to drop a bag, no doubt. But I mean, that's just the reality. But like I said, the sentiment leaving that game, believe it or not, was, hey, great win, golf clap. Let's get rid of Billy as soon as possible.
I could see it.
They are so done with him. And even look at the end of the Texas game. The outrageous timeout he took, some of the conservative play calling on the stretch. They did some things to let Texas allow them back in the game. That against a better team, a.k.a. A&M, is going to hurt them. I think A&M covers this week, and I think they win by double digits. I think that was a blip on the radar for Florida. I don't think they're going to turn it around. I'm not saying DJ Lagway is going to revert back to throwing for 60 yards or 5 interceptions, but I don't think that's who Florida is. I know they had the great turnaround last year, but A&M is also a legitimate college football playoff and SEC title contender. I think they're going to bring Florida crashing back down to earth this weekend.
In the big scheme of things, what is Vanderbilt in the SEC right now? Because it was a perplexing game plan. We were talking about it earlier. Perplexing game plan where Diego Pavia carries 12 of the 19 carries against a very bad Alabama run defense. What are your feelings about Alabama coming out of that game and Vanderbilt coming out of that game?
Bama continues to round into form to be the team I thought they were going to be coming in the season. Obviously, that week 1 was a bit shocking, for all of us. Mm-hmm. But I placed that Heisman bet on Ty Simpson before the season started. Got him at plus 1,800. I'm feeling better and better about that. Listen, I was getting clowned after week 1, because I well documented, put a video out there hyping him up, Ty Simpson for Heisman. But he's looked like that guy. And even week 1, he wasn't terrible if you go back and look at the numbers. But every week, he's getting better and better, and Alabama's getting better. The return of Jam Miller, I think, has been super underrated. Was solid against Georgia, was really good against Vandy. I mean, the defense has got dudes running all over the field. I will say, so I still feel really good about Alabama. I think right now, if you ask me who am I most confident in making the SEC championship game, I still think Bama gets there. Again, they're getting better and better every week, and that team is absolutely stacked with talent. I still feel good about Vandy. I still think Vandy's a college football playoff contender. I really do. And here's the encouraging thing if you're Vandy. There's no moral victories. And I think that's a great thing. Clark Lee's program, they're past the point of moral victories. You don't look at that game and say how proud you are that they just kept it close. But I will say, watching that game, like Vandy did not play. They said they had to play Vandy football. If we play our game, it won't be close. They didn't play their game, right? They lost the time of possession. They turned the football over in the red zone. And it was still a competitive game into the fourth quarter, right? So I think if you look at that, I think Vandy, I think they earn some respect across the country as this is legitimately
I think they're going to go one of those
team.
Florida Bowls or something.
Listen, this LSU game upcoming next weekend, we'll talk a lot more about it next week, is it's one of those kind of season-defining games, I think. Like, if you're going to make this run that Diego and that entire team and locker room believes, like, it's probably a game you need to win. LSU's very beatable, and they've got a big one against South Carolina this weekend as LSU, but they're very beatable, and you get them on your home field, and I know it'll be an earlier kick, but I'm sure First Bank will be rocking, and Vandy fans will show up and be loud and be proud. And again, it's a very winnable game. So I believe in Vandy. I think they can make a push to the playoff. I really do.
One quick question here before you go back to Zach, and that is, you said that you put money on Ty Simpson for Heisman. How are you doing in your gambling bets? Because Zach is only 50-50 right now.
I am a little higher than 50%.
Ross may have to switch.
Listen, you're going to
start back here.
Hey, listen, some of my losses.
Like Ty Simpson being an Alabama fan.
I was told last week to take Mississippi State plus 14.5, and that was one of my losses. So I'm just saying.
Listen,
I'm at 57.9%.
You're going to dog me too, because I'm 16-14. I'm just over 500. So, but here's the thing, because
That's good betting, though.
Listen, exactly. I've been getting clowned too, but what you have to understand, like in gambling, just stay above 500.
That's all you got to do.
An elite gambler is hitting 60 to 62% of his bets. Yeah. So, if you're living at that 55% mark, like, you're a pretty good gambler.
Oh,
most people.
So you're pretty good.
57.9%.
Here's the thing: most people are losing. So if you're just keeping your head above water,
that's why I don't gamble.
Right? Listen, we do it for the love of the game. I'm trying to break the bookie as best I can, but hey, as long as we're having fun in the process and not just completely losing our you-know-what. So, yeah. All it takes is one big week or one horrible week.
So let's talk about a little bit about maybe some upsets coming up in the SEC. Alabama going to Missouri. Alabama's run defense versus Ahmad Hardy. Who you got?
Well, here's the other
Columbia, right?
In Como, yeah. Here's the other side of this, though. Missouri's pass defense against Ty Simpson and that group of receivers.
Yeah.
So those are the two big matchups. Yeah, I like Alabama. The way they're rolling right now, again, they're getting better and better and better every single weekend. Ahmad Hardy's the best running back in the SEC. Jamal Roberts, who's the Robin to his Batman, is also a fantastic player. I got to see him in person a few weeks ago. I took Bama. I took them minus 3.5. I do. I think they're rolling right now, the way they're playing, the way things are coming together for them. I think they can slow down Ahmad Hardy just enough, and I just haven't seen anybody that can stop. I think it's a close game, probably a 7-point game, but I think they'll cover the 3.5. Also, too, Kalen DeBoer is wearing the black hoodie, if you didn't see, so it's a guaranteed dub for them.
Someone asked me.
When he wears a black hoodie,
dude, I think they're 10-1 when he wears his black hoodie. That's like his Batman cape when he puts it on. So
I saw Drinkowitz asked him if he was going to wear that.
It's becoming this running thing. It's become a thing. So he's going to have the black hoodie on, but the good news is, again, his football team's really coming together. I think they'll get the win. And also, too, this is the spot typically where Mizzou, you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. It's like, and I got a lot of respect for MIZ, but they kind of beat up on a lesser than schedule. And then when they go up against these top tier teams, the top dogs in the league, this is where the separation happens. But this is a big spot for Mizzou, man. They can earn a lot of national respect this weekend.
My friend Andy, I think Vandy was up 14-0 at the time, and he goes, "Can you explain to me why Kalen DeBoer is in a black hoodie and black pants when it's 83 in Tuscaloosa right now?" I go, "Because he's the Grim Reaper of joy."
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah. He's committed to the bit, man. I don't know. He's forever committed, even though black isn't one of Alabama's school colors.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about Sam Pittman's firing. Bobby Petrino's taken over, and then he proceeded to fire some of the most important members of the defensive staff at Arkansas. What is going on in Arkansas? They're coming off a bye week, so they've had a lot of time to maybe set things straight or set the things the way that Bobby Petrino wants them. Maybe we see a different kind of Arkansas team that this Tennessee team may not be ready for? What are your feelings about Arkansas versus Tennessee?
Yeah, very under the radar game in Knoxville this weekend. Shout out to my boys. I know a lot of people going to that one. Yeah, it's going to be an entertaining game. I think you're going to get a lot of points. I mean, Tennessee hasn't been held to less than 41 points in a contest this season.
I think it's like 68 or 69 is the over-under.
Yeah, and I took the over. Arkansas's defense is not the one that's going to stop Josh Heupel and Joey Aguilar. And I know a lot of Vols fans I've talked to they're a little nervous about this one, and I get it. You know, Bobby Petrino taking over there. I mean, listen, they're going to throw the kitchen sink at him. They're going to do some things, I think, really exotic, and I think they're going to get theirs. Taylor Green's a dynamic playmaker. But the good news is this, too. Again, you're at home. Josh Heupel's trip-ups or mess-ups, if you will, they haven't come at Neyland Stadium. Mm-hmm. So, and again, the good news is this. Bobby Petrino, we all know about his track record in Fayetteville, but, you know, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken you know what.
Oh, they just don't have the talent.
And I just don't think Arkansas has got the dudes, the Jimmies and Joes, to go toe-to-toe with the Vols. I mean, listen, the spread's weird. It's like 12.5. I'm not touching it. I think the over hits. I mean, I think Arkansas could score into the 30s, high 20s, low 30s. I think Tennessee's going to drop 45
Who's the
plus.
DC? Didn't he fire them?
Yeah, they fired Travis Williams, who I thought T-Will did a pretty good job there in Fayetteville up to this year. I mean, they were abysmal this year. But, again, I think it's more of a talent issue than anything. So, lot of change, a lot of unknowns for Arkansas. That always leads to, you know, some could be some unexpected results. But I don't know if Tennessee covers, but I think Tennessee will win the game.
Okay, South Carolina at LSU. I mean, LSU, they have just not looked good. I know we say that every week because I'm just not a big Garrett Nussmeier guy or a Brian Kelly guy. But South Carolina isn't who we thought they really were going to be coming into this year either. I mean, they haven't lived up to the preseason expectations. So you got two teams here that have not lived up to maybe preseason expectations the way that we thought. Who gets right in this game that's going to be at 6:45, cap off the football weekend?
Well, guys, there's a few college football don'ts. There's things you don't do in college football, right? You don't go to the pumpkin patch or the apple orchard on a Saturday. You don't schedule fall weddings. And you typically, unless you're Alabama, you don't walk into Death Valley at night in Baton Rouge and get a win.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. So, you know, listen, and I know this LSU team is very imperfect. They've been stewing over that Ole Miss loss the last time they were out on the field. It was a really nasty game, and the Garrett Nussmeier injury, and he's had some time, obviously, to rest and recover, and we'll just see how close to 100% he is. Talking to my LSU buddies, there's no doubt he's going to play because there was a lot of conversation about Michael Van Buren and should they make a switch and just kind of reinvent things offensively, but it's not going to happen, at least in this game. You're right, though. Both these offensive lines have just been abysmal. I mean, South Carolina, they can't get a run game going. Here's the thing. LSU, I believe it's their 15th in the conference in rushing yards per game. South Carolina 16th. So it's not exactly going to be a run game clinic on Saturday night. But if I got to go one side or the other, obviously I'm going to trust LSU at home to get the dub. The spread's interesting at 8.5. I mean, I could see this being a one-score game. It's a revenge spot, if you will, for South Carolina from last year. This was the game.
They got robbed by the refs. I hope it's not the same group of referees.
I think that ref's face is still on wanted posters in Columbia for what happened last year. But no, I mean, listen, if I got to pick one of these two offenses to get it going, I am going to go LSU at home. And I think LSU's defense, especially against that South Carolina offense. Lenora Sellers is still a fantastic talent, a great player. He just does not have really any help around him. But which of these two offensive lines can get a run game going? I mean, neither one of them I really believe in, but you almost kind of feel like something's got to give, right? One of them's got to break out. The big thing for LSU is this. If they can just play a clean football game, if I'm Brian Kelly, I'm preaching, hey, we got our stuff we got to figure out offensively, but don't allow any boneheaded mistakes like a pick six, a scoop and score, a defensive score, and let's take care of our special teams. Because if you do that, you play a clean game. I think South Carolina right now as a team, they need help, right? Like, look at the Kentucky game. They had 2 defensive touchdowns in a 3-play span. It changed the momentum of that game, and the rest is history. You look at Virginia Tech in the season opener, the same thing. They had a punt return for a touchdown. Like, if you play a clean game against them, which is easier said than done, I don't think they're, especially for LSU, they're not going to come into your house and line up for 60 minutes and just beat you and take it from you. But if you give it to them, you let them hang around, you get in the fourth quarter and you're in a dogfight, anything can happen. But I do think LSU at home coming off the bye, it's it's a can't lose game for them. It is. So I think they'll take care of their business.
Do you have time to stick around for one more segment? Because I do want to ask you about Arch Manning and get into a conversation about Arch Manning and whatever questions that Blaine has as well. This is coming up next. We'll talk more about the SEC with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. We're going around the SEC with Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. And
that is a great question, because it's like, how bad does Kentucky how bad do they want to make the move? And you're right. Like, Kentucky, they had a great run under Stoops. I mean, he got them to a place. They won 10 games, I think, like 3 out of 4 years. They're a basketball school. Like, you're not supposed to win big in football. So, like, what coach wants to take on those challenges that are inevitably there? I think that's the big question.
So you got to go young and up-and-coming coach?
Yeah, one of these G5s. I mean, you probably you get in touch with a John Summerall at Tulane. You get in touch with a Golish at South Florida. You know, one of the others out there, one of these hot names, young and up-and-comers. Yeah, you're definitely – I don't think you're going to get somebody that's – established that is trying to win titles. I think the goal at Kentucky.
I think he's rehabbing in California somewhere.
Jeez, really?
I don't know though.
Getting paid to rehab. Not bad.
But speaking of quarterbacks, right now, I'm sure your list going to include in quarterbacks. Well, a few quarterbacks probably. Your top 3 Heisman candidates. You listed, before the season. Are you still there with Simpson, and who else you think is in the running?
Well, he's hurt right now, but I think John Mateer, when he gets back.
You think the hurt, being injured, is going to affect people's voting?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just not talking about him right now. We're just not talking about him a ton. We'll see what happens this Saturday. I mean, I don't think he's going to play. I think it's going to be Michael Hawkins. If he gets in there for 5-6 plays and some decoy package, or they just want him to run the football. But I don't, and getting into that Texas-Oklahoma game, I don't. Yeah, Dante Moore's having a big season. I know Dan Lenning's been pushing him hard. I'm trying to think of others. It's essentially like nobody's really emerged.
It's still early, but
it's still pretty early, and nobody's really emerged. It's like last year it was very obvious. Like Travis Hunt. That's my question for the game. Which of these quarterbacks? Both these quarterbacks are going to be spending Sunday in the cold tub, recovering, and because they're going to both get banged up a good bit. But the talent has taken a step back. I mean, the offensive line's abysmal. Yeah. I mean, no run game to speak of to support him. They've taken a step back at the skill positions on the outside of the wide receiver spot. They don't have those big game breakers right now. The running back position, they've been banged up there. So it's a lot more than Arch Manning. Arch isn't playing great, but I think he looks like a guy right now. It made less sense in week 1 because we had no proof of concept, or there was no – that was the first game of the season. So why would you not trust your offensive line? I'm sure they've been great in practice. Now I'm like, I get it. He's fearful for his life every time he drops back, and because he looks like a baby deer back there, just trying to find his footing and find his legging and just trying to make big plays and sort of just slinging it, throwing it up, see what happens. But, yeah, they're a mess offensively. I mean, and I'll tell you this. I think Texas – I think you just might be who you are. I think you might have to just chalk it up as, hey, if we can get to 8-4, it's a pretty good year. Because with the issues, I don't think what they have, the issues have already gone. Do I think Bill makes it to the end of the season? He might, but I think this is good. But I do think Georgia squeaks out a close win. We were talking about this game last night, funny enough. Like, I can close my eyes and I can see it in my head, like Jordan-Hare, the atmosphere, the environment. Auburn gets a late pick to seal the game, and Jackson Arnold fuels off the home environment, that he has a big game, and Auburn pulls the upset win. But unfortunately, when I open my eyes, I see Hugh Freeze's smug face staring back at me, and I'm like, there's no way this guy is going to beat Kirby Smart. So at the end of the day, man, when I talk Georgia, and it's on purpose, I talk a lot about DNA traits. I know a guy that used to work there, and that's something he preaches, DNA traits of that program and of Kirby Smart. And in a game like this, when I got to lean on something, that's what I trust. Because I can't just bank on, well, it's in a tough environment. So, give me football reasons why Auburn's going to win the game. And there's just not a whole lot of things you can point to. They've got a really good defense that I think if they can make life uncomfortable for Gunnar Stockton, if they can slow down the run game, easier said than done. The defense is going to give them a chance. I have no doubts about that, but Yeah, when it comes to Auburn winning this game in crunch time, I don't care where it's being played. I'm going to take Kirby Smart every single time. So give me the Dogs.
There you go. Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered, who joins us every Thursday to go around the SEC. Chris, enjoy your weekend in Dallas, right?
Yeah, Red River Shootout.
The Red River Shootout. So go look for him out wherever you guys do your tailgating. Do you know where you're going to be set up at? Yeah.
For the season, let alone their dreams. Introducing the Edge Athletic Recovery Program. Their dreams. Introducing the Edge Athletic Recovery Program. A 2-month, twice daily sublingual peptide protocol that designed to help your athlete heal faster, recover stronger, and get back on the field safely. Heal faster, recover stronger, and get back on the field safely. Our science-backed peptides BPC 157 and TB 500 support muscle, tendon, and ligament repair with no needles, no
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Store and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. 615-737-1045 is number. Blaine, I want to ask you two SEC-related questions before we move into the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, yeah.
The first one is about everything that's going on in Arkansas. Oh. And the reason I want to ask is because obviously head coach gets fired. Then the interim head coach, Bobby Petrino, turns around and fires two big defensive coaches, including the defensive coordinator.
But you didn't know it because I just told you that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, actually, Joseph told me that. I didn't know that until today. I just totally flew under the radar or off my radar. But obviously, 3 coaching firings, so 3 coaching changes, your head coach and your defensive coordinator. So what kind of you got the bye week? So how much can this instability really play into how the team performs against Tennessee in your mind?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you because I mean,
I'm not a coach. I have no idea.
I'm just asking you from the player perspective. I mean, what's going through your head? Yeah,
I've never been in that situation, so I have no idea.
Yeah,
and you're talking about college kids too. So
yeah.
Well, you could call them theoretically college kids, but
right.
Yeah, I have no idea. Sometimes change is fresh, but I mean. Man, that's obvious that Petrino didn't think the defense play caller was good enough. But I think it's more about the Jimmies and the Joes. I just don't think they have the talent to have. But as far as how it affects them, some may think it's a fresh start. So they may be excited, maybe get opportunities. Some others may like, I don't know, until during the game, then they realize, I don't know if this was a good idea or not. But
especially if you are the Tennessee's up like 14-0 in like the first 5 minutes or something crazy like that.
Against that style of offense too. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of scheme they come up with, because it could be a little surprising early on to Tennessee.
Because that's going to be my next question.
I know what they're going to do.
Bobby Petrino, no Sam Pittman ahead of him. So Bobby Petrino's kind of like the training wheels are off or the chains are off, however you want to say it.
I would say that, Petrino's offense been his offense.
Right.
So I don't think, Pittman was kind of, containing him as far as an offense.
I just wonder if there's any tweaks or something new that maybe Tennessee will haven't seen yet. You never know.
I'm sure there'll be some change on defense just because of the change of coaching, but I don't think a lot will be changed besides having an extra week to prepare. That could benefit Petrino a little bit as far as his offense. Yeah. But he'll do mostly what he's been doing, I would assume.
So Arch Manning is the other interesting conversation. I think you brought up a pretty interesting point. This isn't a very talented Texas team on offense. They lost Kelvin Banks, their starting left tackle. They lost, two receivers last year, Matt Golden and Isaiah Bond, to the NFL draft.
Tight end Gunnar Helm.
They lost tight end Gunnar Helm. They lost Jadon Blue, their running back there.
Right tackle Cameron Williams.
Cameron Williams. Yeah. Then they lost a bunch of a lot of different players on defense too. Now defense seems to be easily reloaded because their defense has been really, really good. But Arch Manning has walked into a situation right now that's less than ideal. Now,
I think they overrated their talent. Yeah. I think they did a little bit of what Penn State even actually did. They thought they had pieces that were be good enough, and they are not there yet. So I think that's kind of hurting him too. Now I got to put some onus on Arch Manning himself as well. But I don't think this team is as talented as the ones they've had in the past. But we shall see. He's still not playing to the level that I thought he would. I don't know what has happened, but man, he's still not supposed to look like this. I'm sorry. He's not supposed to look like
because,
this.
I think we kind of both agreed that he wasn't going to be this generational guy.
Right, but I thought
we thought he was going to be way better than what he was.
Yeah, I didn't think this.
But again, he doesn't know how to work a microwave, Blaines, and I kept bringing that up, and you kept dismissing it. Just want to say.
I think that was a joke that you read with a little too far. That he was joking.
I don't know. But, it is kind of crazy. Like, I was kind of like, let's all slow down on the Arch Manning hype train just a little bit. Because obviously.
He only had started 2 games before that.
Right. And they also kept saying, well, he's not going to come out till 2027. So what did they know? Because I kind of go back to those comments like he's not going to enter the draft until after the 2027 draft. They were saying that before this draft.
That's because they were listening to you. They said he needed so many starts to be successful in the NFL.
And also he needs to learn how to work a microwave. But I do go back to those statements, and because everybody kept kind of ignoring and glossing over that fact, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they knew that he wasn't going to be ready right out of the gate. Maybe it's kind of a situation where they knew maybe the talent around him wasn't going to be there, and he wasn't really ready. I don't know, but I think there are people that are writing off Arch Manning way too quick because he's made their preseason predictions look a little silly. But I think Arch Manning's the perfect case of a guy that's probably going to need some time, not to use a microwave thing, but to cook. Like he's going to need time to heat up, ramp up, because he hasn't played in a long time, and this is a different kind of team.
Yeah, he played periodically, so I'm sure he's not a guy that's going to make those kind of excuses. You just wonder if the hype and then now the critique before the season hype and then now the critique is all because of his last name. Is that
think
the
so.
reason why?
I'd say you could kind of look at like Shadur Sanders, right?
That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, I'm with you. I think that people way overhyped him. And then I think now those people are being way too critical of him. I think you got to find that even ground. You got to find that middle ground when you're talking about these prospects because he is still 19 or 20? I mean, he's still got time to grow and develop and all this kind of stuff. And he's going to be playing again next year. Like, this is Texas's quarterback for next year. I know there are fans out there, and I'm friends with fans of Texas that are like, let's see what the other guy's back. This is the best one. Well, this is why he couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I saw that before.
And I'm like, well, no, Steve Sarkisian's pretty loyal to how those guys play and everything. Now, maybe he wouldn't have been as good as as Quinn Ewers last year, but we also saw Quinn Ewers go in the 6th or 7th round of this year's draft. Looked pretty abysmal in the preseason because he didn't have all those weapons that he had at Texas. And going back to what Arch Manning has now, how do we think Quinn Ewers would look with this team right now? Probably worse in my mind because I think Arch
Quinn
Manning.
Ewers played with an ankle injury most of the season.
Was that this year or 2 years ago?
No, I thought it was last year.
But either way, I do think Arch Manning is better than Quinn Ewers, and I think he will end up turning into a better quarterback than Quinn Ewers.
Well, I would say he's probably a little more talented athletically. I don't know about passing, though. That's the tick. The ticket is with Ewers. He was even on short passes. Was pretty efficient. You can say what you want to say about him. So I think Arch is learning a big lesson here on, it's more to it than just being a really good athlete playing the quarterback position. There's a lot of complex things that goes on and then not understanding, how the defense is going to approach you. That's what started it all. He was going against an NFL DC in his first matchup at Ohio State.
Yep.
It was, former New England's DC for many years in their Super Bowl runs. And now maybe kind of tweaked him and now he's lost his confidence. You would have think he's gotten it back by now. And for that not to happen is a red flag for me. Like I would say he should be back to normal unless there's something else going on that we don't know about. I know a lot of people keep talking about maybe he's got some form of an injury with his throwing arm, but I don't, they haven't ever said that. So I'm hoping, maybe that is it. Maybe we'll find out after the season. But he's fighting through it because they showed him wincing when he was throwing with nobody hitting him. I'm like, well, dang, why is he doing that? On a throw, it should be like, it should be easy.
Right.
So it's something to watch. But right now, they're nowhere near Texas is beatable right now at this point in time. I'm really interested to see how well he plays in this Red River game here against Oklahoma.
You got any thoughts on Arch Manning you want to let loose, Ross?
I just thought, I look at it kind of the same way I look at Cam Ward in this sense. I think for Arch, just getting that confidence back, just get the ball to your playmakers. Let them make plays with the football in their hands. I think a quicker passing game would probably help them as opposed to trying to take these deeper shots. And I know Cam Ward's got other issues surrounding him than Arch Manning does, but I think an easy way to build confidence in a quarterback is to have him get the ball out of his hands quick, let the playmakers run with it after the catch and get it first downs and whatnot, have a strong run game, and then you can maybe open things up to the deeper passing game for Arch Manning.
And the run game.
Yeah, exactly. Have him run, too, a little bit.
Yep, get him into a rhythm and a flow because he looked really good when he was running football. I actually thought they should put him in with Ewers. That's why I thought Ewers had an ankle injury because I was like, well, he can't really run. Arch can. Let's bring him in to do that, and then you can kind of set that up for run-pass when he comes in and, with a handful of plays. I don't know if that's probably the most disappointing part so far in the SEC, but it's definitely discouraging. And as a Texas guy, if you're watching your team play, that he's not fighting out of this for whatever reason.
That's where a lot of that hype came from, too, because everyone was like, oh, we have a mobile Manning? Like,
Right.
Imagine that.
Right. I mean, he can read defenses and he can run around. Oh, my gosh, we got us one.
He's going to be better than Peyton.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine Peyton with Michael Vick's speed and athleticism or something like that. Is what people were, something crazy like that.
That would be fantastic to watch.
All right, coming up next, we're going to shift gears,
Lead
talk about the
quarterback.
Tennessee Titans, about their decision to go for one, their decisions on fourth down, and do they need to start being more aggressive? This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Me and Ross had a discon on Monday, and I meant to ask you
Without me.
Without you.
Oh,
you didn't get to
man.
enjoy it on Victory Monday.
On Monday when I wasn't here.
Right.
Yeah,
and I meant to bring this up
you guys
on,
mentioned me.
on Tuesday, and I forgot. But what were your thoughts on the decision to kick the extra point off the first touchdown by the Tennessee Titans instead of going for 2? Because in the moment...
Oh, you talking about in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, when Joey Sly eventually missed it. I mean, he missed it and that's why Matthew Wright's here. Now he's got a calf
trying to rush
injury.
through, watch the game. I'm trying to remember the whole situation.
Yeah. So they kick the extra point. They miss it. But at the time that they're sending the extra point team out there, I'm like, why aren't you going for 2? Because for me, now Ross disagrees.
Now, how far were they down at that the exact number?
So they
9
went
points?
when they scored. They went down 21-12.
Yeah, so they went 21-12, so that would be 8 points.
Oh, okay.
9
No. I
possession
don't. Here's what I
it's
will
9 points.
say.
Oof, that's bad math.
I
Alabama
thought
math.
head coach Callahan cornered himself by saying we'll always go kick the extra point. Now, in that, I would have followed that with that situation. I do agree with Ross in that you don't chase the points until you have to. So they could have scored and just done the extra point, and then their next time to score, they then go for 2. Is that the situation you're kind of talking about? Yeah. So I think, Now, you've seen other coaches have different philosophy where they do it in the back end. Guess what? Then if you don't get it, now you're even further behind, but you know where you'll be if your defense gets you a stop when you can go down and you have to score and then go for 2 to win it.
Right.
Or to tie, whatever the case may be. So, that's not a big deal for me. It's here or there.
In the big scheme
I just
of
don't like to say that he's saying that we're never going to do it. Don't ever say that, because Vrabel did the same thing. Said we're always going to go for 2 in this situation. Then he never did it like that. So
that was the one thing I didn't like. I liked his decision in the moment. Obviously backfired by missing the kick, but and this is something I forgot to say to Zach. But I think in the moment for me watching the game, I was like, defense has been playing really good in the second half. Let's just take the extra point, go down 8, trust him to get another stop, and then like you said, we'll go for the 2.
That was where the
need
feel of the game of what was going on. I thought that was the right decision.
But him saying that they're going to do that every time, boy, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Brian Callahan on the decision to kick instead of going for 2 after being down 9. That's going to be our philosophy in those situations. We're going to kick that. Yeah. And see, I kind of view it from a different perspective, just from I like to be able to show your belief in your team. They just scored. Let's capitalize on that. Mm-hmm. And I get everything you guys are saying. It all makes sense. And I really don't think the
there's
decision,
2 ways to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no
the
doubt about
decision
that.
itself. I don't necessarily. I'm not going to blow it up into some big indictment of Brian Callahan,
the philosophy,
because
right?
it's what other people are doing.
No,
but I'm more of an aggressive guy anyway. If you were to let me make every 4th down decision for almost every situation, we're going for it. I mean, for the most part. Now, maybe fake punts are involved and stuff like that, but that's just me. I know that's not a sustainable way to play football. I know that. I'm just in that kind of.
So your decision making is based off of playing video games, right?
Yeah, don't hire me to be coach. But I go and want to go back to this analytics department, this game management department. And here's why I have issue not only with just this philosophy, but with the decision. Okay. Because the analytics would tell you to go for it. Mm-hmm. An overwhelming amount of data would tell you to go for it. Seth Walder was actually, ironically enough, on a podcast. He does the analytics. He pretty much is the father of analytics for ESPN over there in their department. He was on 9 days ago, he was on a podcast. So, it was before this game. He was on the podcast talking about the decision to go for it and the reason why you go for 2. Now, he can do it a much better explanation than I can, but essentially what he's saying is that you go for 2 now because you have a little bit of a momentum swing, and even though momentum's not data-driven, you know there's momentum. But also because if you don't get the 2, you have to get the 2 later. Something you kind of alluded to just a few minutes ago, and that's what the data pretty much backs up. So it makes me question again, going back to the game management department and the analytics department, what's the data that they have that supports the other side?
Well, no. His data is he's now focused on managing the game and not offense or anything else. And I think he went off of his feel of the game. And like, oh man, we've been behind and not even in this game. Now, if I go for 2, now I'm really blowing it. Now that we've gotten back in the game, I think I should just wait till we can get the 2 points and we can close and win or tie.
So could it be a situation like this? And I think Ross kind of alluded to it. You've kind of alluded to it just now, in the sense of, okay, this team struggles to overcome mistakes, errors, failures, whatever word you want to use. And if I make this decision and we don't get it, the emotional, like the air's taken out of the tires.
Then now I'm the reason why we're not going to win this game. Yeah. My decision.
Yeah.
And there's times when analytics play a heavy part in that decision. But one thing about analytics on that kind of situation is they can't feel what's going on in the game. So also you don't know what kind of game it was. Was it a game that was close throughout? Was it a game you were getting blown out? It doesn't take any of these factors into play. It just tells you if you have an elite team like the Eagles or whoever you want to put on there, they're telling everybody, or the bottom feeder, like where the Titans are at to this point, to go for it. And see, to me, you can't make decisions like that. Those are two different circumstances. An elite team who has the confidence and know they're really good, to a growing team, to a middling team. So to me, that's how you have to parlay your decision, not just based off the analytics. You take it all in, the information. It's no different than any other decision at a corporate, organization or not. You take all the information in, and then you make a decision. And so to me, that was the right decision.
But we all agree that that's going to be our philosophy quote. Oof, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, maybe it's a red herring. Maybe he's lying, but that doesn't really feel like
he made it defend. That's why I said I would have never said that. I would have never said that. I would have said in that situation, I felt like that was the time to go for the extra point.
Because in those situations, I mean, that's kind of a broad term, right?
Yep.
He could really mean
you wanna have
in
it
these
out.
situations where we're maybe way behind or something like that. The time for him to probably go into more detail would have been there. But again, in the grand scheme of things of decisions inside a game, and we've seen some bad decisions from Brian Callahan, even dating back to last year, this isn't one I have like a huge beef with.
Right.
Because I do understand that, hey, it's a little bit different. There are some people that called it idiotic. And I'm like, I don't know if I would go that far. To me, it's just like, maybe I would.
To me, it was more about preference.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy? And maybe that's what he's leaning into. But this game, I thought, and rest assured, as soon as we scored, I said, should we go for 2? He had already thought about it. Yeah. He knew he was going for 1.
Right.
So that's what I wanted him.
Well, he plays for the field goal anyway.
Definitive,
so, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so at least he was definitive on it, and that brings assurance and confidence.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like there's some people in the fan base too that can't wrap their, because I see both sides of it, but there's some people that can't wrap their mind around what Blaine and I are saying of we agreed with it because the kick was missed. Well, if we had known he was going to miss it, obviously I would have said just go for 2.
No doubt.
You couldn't have predicted that.
Yeah, that's why I was saying at least I can say that at the moment before they sent the kicking unit out there, I was hoping they would go for 2.
Bold prediction, Sly would not be kicking this game.
Well, I mean, he's got an injury, right? I mean,
this
injury pops up.
I do kind of believe.
Where did the calf come from?
I do kind of believe
my
that
calf
because of what Fossil said about him hitting the ground on that one kick first. I can't imagine that would be good for your leg to take a chunk of the ground out and then kick the ball.
Yeah.
But it is suspicious.
Hey man, this guy gets out there and does well, boy. Kicking, bye birdie.
Yep. Let's go to Kevin in Nashville. Kevin, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to add something to that. I mean, it's a little different, but the same thing. When the Bengals came to town a few years ago with Vrabel and we had home field advantage, Derek was coming back. That first drive of the game, Vrabel decides to go for 2, which I understand. If he'd have just kicked it, we'd have won the game. But my whole part of that thing was I was sitting in the stands, and emotion and momentum are such a big thing. And when we scored that touchdown, our fans and the energy were out of control. But I'm telling you, as soon as they failed on that 2-point conversion, the Bengals
Wiped it all
fans
out.
erupted and went crazy, and it was like that whole thing right there of just kicking that point changed that feeling in that room. And I was sitting there the whole time like, why would you go for two? Why would
I did too.
I still question why you did that. But anyway, I wanted to add that on. Maybe you guys can add on to it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that.
Good point, Kevin.
Yeah, that was a great point. And I was sitting there irate because that was a playoff game. It was like do or die. Yeah, and that to me, and maybe he went because analytics say go, but the way the momentum, if you don't get it, woo, you just pulled everything out from air gone.
Yep.
Of the momentum. So it's one of those things. So to me, it's easier to do, by the way, on the road, though, which is what the Titans were.
There you go. What you got?
The one caveat I had to that, because I know what Kevin's talking about, I think it was the first touchdown we had of the game. There was a penalty on the extra point on Cincinnati because we did line up to kick it. So we got the football at the one, half the distance. And I agreed at that point to go for two because it's like, no, I didn't agree with the play call on that too, but it's like you're 1 yard out. You should be able with Derrick Henry to get in. So, but
what
it is
was the play call on that play?
read option. And it got smoked.
Yeah, they did something. Yeah, I was just like, are we trying to outsmart?
Because that's also the other thing. That's the conversation to have. Like, you guys just talked about, you brought it up, how people say, well, he missed the extra point, so of course it was a bad decision.
Right.
Okay?
That's what people think, right?
Right. But that's not necessarily, you don't go in thinking you're calling an extra point and your kicker's going to go miss it. Now, you've seen him miss it before, an extra point before.
We saw him miss it in preseason.
So there is that, risk. That one just went insanely to the right. It was insane. Wow. But also, do you trust, and maybe this is also a question for me that I have not considered till just in this moment when you brought the read option play up, do we trust Brian Callahan has a 2-point conversion play that's going to have a high probability of working?
But no, Bo Hardigree.
Oh, Bo Hardigree, sorry. Bo Hardigree. But at the end of the day, maybe there's
I think they will. Now, whether we like the play call will be a whole nother story. Because I think they do.
Because if they do something and then Cam Ward gets sacked or there's a lot more, I guess, risk with the play call itself to be able to change the momentum, right? Because you got an interception, you have the fumbled aspect, you have the, sack aspect, right? Like a lot of things could go wrong in an offensive play where only a few things can go wrong in an extra point. Because typically that's just natural habit, right? And all that.
You sure? What if Brian Callahan would have got up there and said, "Yeah, if I freaking knew that Sly was going to miss extra point, I should have just went for two, huh?" I would he just say something crazy out of the norm for him to.
I think we're all kind of saying the same thing though. Like I know you said you'd be a little more aggressive, Zach, which I like too. But it's a feel thing, and it's like whatever decision you make, just go with it. Make sure everyone's on the same page and just rock.
I remember Vrabel said exactly what you're talking about. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to go. Yeah. He said we're going to go for it every time it's 4th and 1. I said you cannot say that. You cannot say that. Every situation is so different. So no, you can't do it. He was adamant. I was like, and then he actually didn't do that. He did.
And Dan Campbell and
I think
the Eagles
don't do it either. Create a mindset of his team and what he was still trying to change the culture of the team and the mindset and being winners and everything else. So I think that's what he was trying to convey at the time.
I think that's really, I guess, maybe my little bit of holdup because we have seen Brian Callahan now through 4 or 5 games kind of play for the field goal, right? And I'm not saying playing for the extra point is necessarily a bad thing. It's just like when do you show that trust in your team to be able to get, the points?
This. You trusting your 0-4 team that you think you trust them? Or are you waiting till we get some wins on our belt to now say, I trust you, let's go? Because you have to show me trust first before I start trying to implement it beforehand. Show me that I should trust you, kicker. Show me I should trust you, Cam Ward. To me, that's what I said. Vrabel was trying to instill this. We're going to go forward with this mindset, but you have to get there first before you're trying to. And then now, okay, we're ready to take on any feat, whether we make it or miss it or don't convert or not. your team won't go into the tank. This team is not ready for that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's to me, that's what a coach in the feel of the game and where your team is today is not the same thing in week 10. In that same scenario, week 10, we'll probably be saying, nah, he should have went for it.
Yeah.
Because now the team, let's say they won like 5 or 6 games, they're confident, they know with all their roles and who's going to get the rock and who's supposed to make plays and everything else. So that's kind of that feel. Yeah,
that makes some sense. I mean, I haven't really thought about that element where I'm thinking that Brian Callahan should make decisions and put out messaging that kind of like what Mike Vrabel did, even if he doesn't do it, just like put that out there and to try to lift them and get that confidence up where maybe on the flip side, hey, maybe he's not putting that out there because he doesn't want to see them fail, and go 0-10 on 4th down.
Right. Yeah, he's saying, hey, man, y'all better buckle up because we are going to be going forward sometime, so get ready.
But then he goes over here and just puts out this messaging and says, it's going to be our philosophy in this situation. We're going to kick the football. We're going to kick back.
Hopefully it's like a competitive advantage situation, just keeping people on their toes.
Yes, I think so. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
He was too good of a coach to say that, we're never going to not go for it.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, wait a minute now. You can't say that. He's like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We're changing things around here.
We're going to continue this conversation because we're going to switch it from that extra point situation, 2-point conversion. And I want to talk about a little bit about 4th down decision making because Tennessee Titans right now, according to all the data and all the analytics, when trying to gain some win percentage, are playing scared. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Wow. Let's talk insurance. King and Associates Insurance. They're independent agents, and that's a big difference. But what goes beyond just having multiple companies to shop, weeding out the non-competitive companies, keeping great relationships with the biggest and best, along with bundling. But unfortunately, life happens, and they get it. So here's a true story about my friend and coworker that switched from a previous independent agent and got better coverage on his home and its contents, even his automobiles, with flawless communication and true champion in his corner, especially after a 16-year-old daughter accident that saved him thousands. And I mean thousands from an independent agent who was overcharging him for years. So you can make the switch and save the same, if not more. But don't make the switch because he did or I did. Switch because you should. As a business, family, or an individual, make the switch to King and Associates Insurance. And I'm sure you could do for that extra money in your pocket. Yes, so all you have to do if you want the extra cash flow is just give them a call. 615-321-8121. That's 321-8121 or tkinginsurance.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We just had a great conversation about the extra point decision by Brian Callahan. No, it's a few days late. That's on me. I forgot to ask it on Tuesday. But great discussion. You can get wherever you get your podcast, it'll be uploaded just in case you missed it. But I want to talk about fourth downs.
But you see how long it took us to discuss that?
It did.
The coaches have to make this in a microsecond.
Yeah. Well, apparently
they already think about it,
apparently they sit down in these game management situations and run through everything and have the same discussion, probably the same arguments, and they have to come to a consensus, which means just majority rules. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and ultimately, the head coach should be making the final say regardless. But like, not everybody always agrees.
So, I figured it out. Ross is the OC. I'm the quarterback coach, Bo Hardigree, and you're Brian Callahan.
Except for I would make the right decision.
So I don't do anything?
Yeah, you don't
I'm
do
just
anything.
sitting upstairs twiddling my thumbs?
Yeah, you're my secretary.
You don't do anything. I'm just calling plays and take all the blame.
You're my administrative assistant.
You stayed out of trouble.
Should have gone for it, Zach.
So the Tennessee Titans, Ben Baldwin, who is a big computer guru analytics guy for the NFL, he puts out every week a kind of a running thread of all these different analytics, all these different situations. And he always does the 2025 NFL week by week, going through the fourth down landscape. Oh. What is your go rate in toss-up situations? So like when your win percentage is either between negative 1.5, you may lose negative 1.5 in your win percentage, or you increase it by 1.5. And then he also does your go rate in go situations where you're going to gain a lot of win percentage, 1.5 or more. The Tennessee Titans, and he names the brackets. The brackets are by the books, conservative lean. So you're a conservative person, you pretty much go by the books. Means when your win percentage is really high, that's when you go for it. When it's kind of on the line, you don't go for it.
Okay.
You got by the books aggressive, means you're going for it no matter what, pretty much.
Yeah, that's you.
That'd be me. I'd be up there. The Bears and the Lions are right up there. So Dan Campbell and former Dan Campbell offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions is Ben Johnson. So they're up there. The Miami Dolphins are up in that quadrant. San Francisco 49ers. Mike Vrabel is kind of in that quadrant right now. The Chiefs and the Panthers are all up in that quadrant. Then you have confused. People who aren't going for when they should go. So those big win percentage gains, they're not going for it at a high rate. But they're going for it at a high rate on your like low returns. The Tennessee Titans are in the full of fear quadrant. I'm not joking. Full of fear. Meaning, right now, the Tennessee Titans they're at 0% when going on situations where they can increase their win percentage by 1.5 or more.
0%.
0%. They're barely over 5% on the other fourth down situations where it's the low return situations. So they are conservative.
So is this helping your case for being aggressive, or is this hurting your case?
This should help because
it says fear.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
They fear because they look and see they're not getting results.
But they're not getting they're not going for it. They're punting or taking a field goal.
They're already feared because
they're full of fear.
Yeah, because they haven't had success.
So this helped. Well, it's not. They haven't given themselves a chance to even have success
outside of that. Fourth down or going for it, they know that
they are assuming. But by this metric, what it's telling you, they are assuming they're not going to get it no matter what. Yeah. They're not going to get a fourth down, is what they're assuming.
Yeah.
And this goes back to some of the situations where, again, I say, are you playing not to lose, or are you playing to win?
Well, watch this. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you a good example. In the game, I went back and watched this one play. They put in another tackle.
Well, there's a lot of plays like that.
No, another tackle. In addition, they went big. So they had 3 tackles out there to block the pass rusher. So Moore didn't block anybody. The new tackle that came off the bench had to block the pass rusher. He ran right around him and got a sack. I was like, oh. What purpose do you serve?
Yeah.
Or was it a tackle or it was a tight end? It might have been one. I was just like, oh, my. And then your best tackle, at least that's on the field today, Moore Jr., the big money guy, I didn't block anybody. I would have switched them.
So, like, what it's kind of saying is, let me provide you a situation here.
That's why they don't believe that they can go forward.
Yeah.
Right there is why
they're down. Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, they're playing with fear, and whether the fear is warranted or not is a totally different conversation, because it could be warranted. I'm scared of spiders. Spiders are sometimes filled with poison, and you can't see them. Right? I mean, like,
I don't be messing with no spiders, man.
So, like, not all spiders are filled with poison, but that's a rational fear, right? Arachnophobia. Mm-hmm. They obviously have a fear of, they got tackle phobia. They said they're going to get sacked because these tackles can't hold up. But there's a situation, like there were two situations in the third quarter, and listen, they're on their own 35 and 36 yard line, but it's 4th and 1, and it is really 4th and inches and 4th and 2, and they decide to punt. The analytics would tell you, and you're down 21-6 at this point. So, like, the game's already out of hand.
Third quarter.
And one of them was with 12 minutes and 50 seconds left. One of them is with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left in the third quarter. And that was the 4th and 1.
Fourth. Both of them were 4th and 1?
One's 4th and 2, the 12 minutes and 50 seconds. Gotcha. The other one's 4th and 1. And they decide to punt. And I'm like, just go for it. Tony Pollard has been running like crazy and really good.
But okay, but watch, you would be on the other end just ripping them if they didn't get it.
Because I'm never going to rip someone for a decision I agree with. Now, I'll rip an individual player if, like, Dan Moore ripped the block, but I'm not going to rip the decision.
And you would have gone for it on one of those times, right?
I would have gone for it on both those times.
Both times. And so you would have lost the game earlier.
Maybe I would have won the game.
No, maybe. But the odds were against you.
No, the odds actually in these are within me.
No, the analytics say that, but the flow of the game was totally against you. At 21-6,
but you have nothing to lose.
Do you know how many people would have ripped that coach in the third quarter that you went for it on the 35, your own 35?
It happens all the time.
No, not like that. Not when the game is not. No, see, that's where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
See, you're not listening. You got to go with the flow of the game. The flow of that game at that time was what? They look like, what did call them? Ask. Yeah, that's what they look like. And you're going to go for it backed up. And then all of a sudden you just gave them 3 points. You don't get it, if not 7.
I'm going with Tony Pollard runs, and I'm getting that first down on 4th and 1.
Once you start winning and stacking games and then building confidence that you can go for it on 4th down, then you do crazy stuff like that. Not at 0-4.
See, I don't think it's that crazy.
No, it's crazy because the analytics don't understand how the team is, how good the team is. It's a young, old, inexperienced. It has none of that data. It uses every team as though it's 13-0 or 0-13. It doesn't matter. That does matter to the actual players out there and the coaches.
But Tony Pollard, though, is going to get you that 1 yard. I'm telling you, he was getting yards up the middle. You run in between your guards,
That's
and you get that.
Easy to say, right? Watch this. Sly was making up the extra points earlier in the game. He missed it then, though. See, did your analytics tell you that he was going to miss? See, that's what I'm getting at. Like, the human part of the game and what's going on in the game, the analytics don't take into account. This is not a computer equation. They're humans.
But here's the thing. These are called what you would call surrender punts. Because you're basically surrendering the game, saying you're not going to be able to even make 4th and inches. I mean, that's the thing is like these are short. This is a short 4th and 1.
35-yard line.
And
you're down 21-6. And it probably should have been 28-6 based off the time.
Yeah, I don't remember where that was all at. But like what I'm saying is that, but if you get it, that's a momentum builder. That is and that's what I'm talking about.
But if you don't, what happens?
You're still the same team you always were. I mean, let's be honest.
But then you get ripped by your owner.
I wouldn't rip them.
Everybody involved. Like, hey, man, what did it went into this decision?
Yeah. I wouldn't rip them. I would be like, that's the right decision. Now, could be a bad play call. Maybe I rip the bad play call. But at this point, I think you just run it with Tony Pollard and get the first. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Tommy in Nashville. Tommy, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Derrick Henry, maybe.
Thanks, guys. I've got a couple of things. Number one, y'all probably already talked about this, but on the touchdown that the guy ridiculously dropped the ball, when I watched that replay, though, it looked like he was over the line instead before he dropped it. I don't see how the NFL keeps getting calls wrong, and they've got 20 people looking at everything, maybe y'all disagree. And another thing, listen, Tony Pollard's a beast, but Spears, I know he's been hurt, but man, if we're not, he's one of our most dynamic players, and he's standing on the sideline too much. And if we're not gonna, I don't know if we have plays that we have Pollard and him in there at the same time, but if we're not going to use him, we need to try to just trade him because somebody out there is going to want him. I'll hang up and listen.
I think they were out there a couple of times because they did
they did a
counter or whatever.
Yeah, they did 22 and 20 personnel, which is 2 running backs right at the top. The ball has to cross the line. He had no control when his foot touched the line. So that's pretty much what it is. Listen, I wish he had control because I would have won $400. So there you go. Yeah, which I'm still going to maybe have to go for.
And your percentage would have been up.
There you go. Would have been up. All right. There we go. That's it for us. 3HL's up next. Sorry we couldn't get to you, Martin and Murfreesboro. But 3HL's up next. Has been covered too with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.
Go for it every time.